Capri.
9 was a quiet planet. Red dust covered its wide plains. Tall stone pillars stood like broken teeth across the horizon. The wind moved slowly, carrying fine sand through the air. It was not a beautiful world, but it was rich in minerals. That was why the Veilori were there. The Veilori were tall, thin humanoids with pale silver skin and bright blue eyes. They had built a small mining colony near the northern ridge. It was far from their homeworld, far from danger. Or so they believed. Commander Revek was inside the control tower when the first warning came. "Commander," the young sensor officer said, her voice shaking, "we are detecting a gravitational distortion above the atmosphere." Revek frowned. "A storm?" "No, sir."
"This is not natural. The sky above Creepery."
9 suddenly changed. The clouds twisted in a perfect circle. Light bent strangely, as if space itself was folding. Then, without fire, without sound, something massive appeared. It was a ship. No, it was far larger than any ship the Veilori had ever seen. It covered half the sky. The object slowly descended, blocking out the red sun. Its shadow swallowed the mining colony. Workers dropped their tools and stared upward in fear. The ship was dark gray, covered in strange metal plates. It had no glowing weapons, no visible engines. Its design looked uneven and rough, not smooth and elegant like Veilori ships. It looked built by many hands. The giant vessel landed 10 kilometers away from the colony. The ground shook, but there was no explosion. Just silence. Revek immediately ordered full defense protocol. Raise shields. Prepare evacuation ships. Alert the High Council. The Veilori had met hostile species before. In the past, strange arrivals meant war. It was better to act fast. But something was strange. The ship did not power weapons. It did not send threats. It did not move. Long-range scanners showed almost nothing. No large energy weapons. No attack formations. Even its power levels were low compared to its size. "That makes no sense," Revek whispered. "A ship that size should carry enough power to destroy cities." But this one felt quiet. The High Council gave an unexpected order.
Send a small investigation team. We must understand their purpose.
Revek did not like the idea, but he obeyed. A transport craft carried 5 Veilori soldiers and 2 scientists toward the giant vessel. As they flew closer, the ship looked even stranger. Its surface showed signs of repairs. Some parts were old, some looked new. It was like different pieces from different times had been joined together. "This ship has history," one scientist said softly. "It has survived much." They landed 200 meters from the hull. The metal wall towered above them like a mountain. Then, something happened. A section of the hull slowly opened. The metal folded inward in a smooth circle. No weapons pointed out. No soldiers rushed forward. Just an open doorway. The Veilori soldiers raised their plasma rifles. From the darkness inside, a figure stepped out. It was smaller than a Veilori. Shorter, broader, wearing a simple white suit with no visible armor. Its skin was light brown. Its hair, dark.
Its face soft. It looked
fragile. The Veilori had studied many species. Most strong civilizations evolved natural armor, sharp claws, psychic defense, or heavy muscle. This being had none of those. It walked slowly forward. Then it raised one open hand. Not an attack. The Veilori translator device began to process a signal. Strange sounds filled the air. After a few seconds, the device converted the message into Veilori language. The being spoke calmly. "We come in peace." The soldiers did not lower their weapons. The figure continued. "My name is Elena Navarro. We are humans." The word meant nothing to the Veilori. Behind Elena, inside the open doorway, they could see more figures moving. Many of them. Some small. Some carrying tools. Not weapons. Children. Commander Revek watched everything through the transport camera. His mind raced. A ship larger than a city.
Unknown technology. A species that looked weak.
And yet they had crossed the stars. Why come to Capri? 9. Why land without fear? Revek felt something he had not felt in many years. Uncertainty. Then the translator received one more message from the human ship. A simple request. We ask for asylum. Revek stared at the massive silent giant resting on his planet. Refugees, or something far more dangerous? And above them, hidden beyond sensor range, something else moved in the darkness of space. The word asylum spread across Capri. 9, like fire. Inside the colony's command hall, Commander Revek stood before a large holographic screen. On it was the image of the human woman, Elena Navarro. She stood calmly inside the massive ship, which they now knew was called the Horizon Ark. Behind her were other humans. Some wore uniforms. Some wore simple work clothes. A few small children stayed close to taller adults, watching everything with wide, nervous eyes. They did not look like invaders, but looks could deceive. Explain, Revek said firmly. Elena nodded once. Her face was tired, but her eyes were steady. Our home is gone, she said. Our star became unstable.
We tried to save our planet, but we failed. Earth is destroyed.
The Valori Council members, watching from their homeworld through live transmission, murmured in shock. Destroying a planet was not easy. It required great power or great disaster. You are survivors? One council elder asked. Yes, Elena answered. We are the last of our kind.
The Valori camera zoomed in.
The ship was not designed for war. It was filled with farms, water systems, sleeping areas, classrooms, medical rooms. Plants grew under artificial light. People worked quietly, repairing equipment. This vessel carries over 2 million humans, Elena continued. Scientists, farmers, engineers, families. We have searched for a safe home for many years. Revek studied her carefully. Her voice did not shake. She did not beg. She spoke with quiet strength. But something still troubled him. Valori scientists had been scanning the Ark deeply. The results were confusing. The ship's outer structure looked rough and industrial, but at its center was something else. A powerful energy core. Ambassador Navarro, Revek said slowly, your main engine. It bends gravity itself. This technology is unstable.
Elena was silent for a moment. Yes, she admitted.
It is powerful. Powerful. Revek's voice grew sharp. Our experts believe your drive could tear apart a planet if it failed. Inside the council chamber, tension filled the air. The humans claimed to be refugees, but they traveled in a vessel that could become a weapon of terrible destruction. Elena met Revek's gaze. We built it to survive, she said. When you are facing extinction, you take risks. Her words were simple, but heavy. One elder spoke quietly. If you lose control of this engine near our world, you could destroy us. We understand your fear. That is why we landed far from your cities. That is why we came openly. Revek felt conflict inside himself.
The humans looked weak, no natural armor.
No visible weapons, no psychic ability. Even their bodies seemed soft. And yet they crossed interstellar space in a ship that should not exist. It did not make sense. Before the council could decide anything, an alarm suddenly rang through the command hall. A sensor officer rushed forward.
Commander, we lost contact with Outer Monitoring Station 3.
Revek turned sharply. Explain. There was a gravitational spike near the station. Same signature type as the human arc, but stronger. Revek looked at Elena's image. Did your ship move? Elena shook her head immediately. No. Our engines are offline.
You can confirm.
Valori scanners quickly checked. The Ark had not changed position. Its power levels were stable. Another officer spoke, fear in his voice. Commander? Something is entering the system. On the large holographic screen, a new shape appeared near the edge of the star system. It was sleek, dark, designed for war. Unlike the Ark, this ship had visible weapon arrays and heavy armor. Its energy output was massive. Elena's face changed when she saw it. All calm disappeared. Her expression turned cold. She whispered. Rivek noticed the change immediately.
You know this vessel? Elena looked back at him. There was pain in her eyes now.
And anger. Yes, she said quietly. We do. The unknown warship sent out a powerful broadcast signal across the system. Valori translators struggled for a moment before decoding the message. The voice that came through was deep and cruel. Human vessel identified. You cannot escape again. The council members froze. The message continued. Surrender the survivors, or this system will burn. Rivek slowly turned his head toward Elena. These are your enemies.
Yes, she said.
Behind her, red warning lights began flashing inside the Ark. Humans started moving quickly, but without panic. They had done this before. Rivek felt a heavy truth settle over him. The humans were not just refugees.
They were being hunted. And now, because they had landed on Krepri.
9. The Valori were no longer alone in this danger. The Valori watched from their observation stations as the warship approached the outer edge of their system. Its size alone was terrifying, far larger than any Valori dreadnought. Its hull shimmered black, coated with a strange material that reflected even the faint light of Capri, 9's red sun. Inside the Horizon Ark, Elena Navarro moved with calm precision. She spoke softly to her crew, but every word carried weight. Prepare the Ark. Weapons offline can't stay offline for long. This fight is coming, and we cannot wait. Around her, humans who had lived only for survival sprang into action. Engineers activated hidden compartments, revealing devices that looked like mining tools at first glance. Farmers and teachers carried small, strange weapons. Even children were moved to safe zones, not as pawns, but as part of the crew's careful plan. Commander Rivek, watching through the Valori screens, could not believe his eyes.
Those humans, he muttered. They look fragile.
Yet they move as if they are ready for war. The Dominion warship sent a signal again. Its voice boomed across the system. Human vessel, surrender immediately. You cannot hide. Resistance will be annihilated. Elena's expression did not change. She tapped her communicator. Acknowledged, she said simply. The Valori soldiers tightened their grips on their rifles.
Commander, they are going to fight?
Yes, Rivek said quietly. They have no choice. Outside, the Dominion fleet activated its weapons. Blue energy beams danced across the void, testing defenses. The Ark did not fire back. Not yet. Instead, it shifted its structure. Habitation modules began rotating, realigning in ways that made no sense to the Valori scanners. Some parts of the hull separated slightly, forming platforms with large mechanical devices. Is that weapons? One Valori scientist whispered. Hard to tell, Rivek replied. It looks like farming equipment.
Elena walked to the main bridge. This is not farming equipment, she said.
These are kinetic mass drivers. If we are forced to fight, they will turn the tide. The Dominion warship's commander spoke over the void. Do you truly believe a fragile, broken species can stand against us? Elena's voice was calm, almost cold. We are fragile, but we are humanity. And when cornered, we do what is necessary. Then, with a silent motion, the Ark activated its FTL core. The Valori sensors went wild. Gravitational distortions rippled through space around the Ark, and the Dominion warship staggered. Impossible, the Dominion commander shouted.
No species can control gravity like that!
Inside the Ark, the crew worked together with perfect coordination. Sections of the ship began detaching and forming defensive arrays, heavy devices aimed toward the approaching enemy, while smaller drones flitted like swarms, confusing the Dominion's targeting systems. The Veilori watched in disbelief. This was no ordinary fight. The humans were not simply defending. They were calculating, adapting, predicting the enemy's moves. Every action seemed reckless, yet somehow perfect. Elena turned to her crew. Remember, every risk we take is a chance to survive. We do not run.
We do not beg. We fight.
The Dominion ship fired its massive weapons, and the Ark responded. Not with conventional blasts, but with controlled gravitational pulses that bent the enemy's path, twisting space around them. The Dominion fleet struggled to hold formation. Revek whispered, They are using physics as a weapon. They adjusted mass drivers, redirected drones, and overloaded parts of the FTL core in careful bursts. The Dominion ships were thrown into chaos, colliding with their own formations or spinning helplessly in distorted gravity fields. The Veilori saw humans, the same species that seemed weak and fragile, survive attacks that could have destroyed entire cities. They moved with focus, courage, and precision. One of Revek's aides said quietly, I think these humans were meant to survive, no matter what. Her calm exterior never broke, but inside, she remembered the destruction of her homeworld, the billions lost. Every action now was for survival, but also for justice. The Veilori realized a truth that chilled them. These humans may look weak, but they were the most dangerous species they had ever seen. Not because of brute force, but because of determination, intelligence, and sheer will to live. And the Dominion fleet had no idea what was coming next. Hook, Elena's final command echoed through the Ark. Prepare for the last move. We don't escape, we strike. The Horizon Ark floated silently in space, its massive hull glinting under the faint red light of Capri, 9 Sun. The Dominion fleet had regrouped, trying to aim their heavy weapons at the human ship. But their formation was broken, confused by the Ark's gravitational pulses. Inside the Ark, Elena Navarro stood on the main bridge. She watched her crew move with calm precision. Engineers recalibrated the FTL core. Pilots guided the drones. Soldiers loaded the kinetic mass drivers.
Every human was performing their role with perfect timing.
We have one chance, Elena said, her voice low but firm. If this fails, we are gone. If it works, we survive. Her hand hovered over a control panel that monitored the FTL core. This was not just propulsion. It was the weapon the humans had hoped never to use. They would bend space itself to trap the Dominion ships, but the maneuver was dangerous. Any miscalculation could destroy the Ark. Everyone ready? Elena asked. Her eyes scanned the bridge. A small group of engineers nodded. Pilots gripped their controls. Soldiers tightened their belts. Children and non-combatants had been moved to reinforced compartments. Now, Elena commanded. The Ark's FTL core glowed bright blue. Gravitational waves rippled outward, twisting the fabric of space around the Dominion fleet. Their ship shuddered, engines screaming as they tried to escape. One Dominion flagship was caught in the distortion. Its weapons misfired, its hull strained under the artificial tides of gravity. Smaller ships collided with one another. Chaos spread like wildfire. Revek, observing from the Veilori station, could not believe what he saw. They are controlling gravity itself, he whispered. And they are doing it with precision. Not blindly, purposefully. Inside the Ark, humans adjusted the mass drivers, firing projectiles that moved unnaturally fast through warped space. Dominion ships were struck again and again, thrown into spinning chaos. Engineers monitored the FTL core closely. Every second counted. One mistake could collapse the entire ship. Elena spoke to her crew again. Hold the line. Focus. Trust the plan. The Dominion flagship exploded in a silent flash. Its destruction created a chain reaction. Nearby ships were caught in the gravitational maelstrom, spinning apart or crashing into one another. The Dominion fleet, once intimidating, was reduced to scattered wrecks drifting helplessly. In the observation room, Revek's jaw dropped.
I don't believe it. They survived.
They fought better than any Veilori fleet I have ever seen. The Ark trembled from the strain of its own maneuvers. Human engineers worked tirelessly to stabilize the FTL core, preventing it from overloading. Outside, the surviving Dominion ships began to retreat, broken and demoralized. Elena turned to her crew. "We did it," she said softly, though her face showed fatigue. "We survived, and we made them pay for what they did to Earth." The Veilori Council convened again, this time with a new understanding. Humans were not fragile. They were survivors, fighters, and thinkers. They had lost their homeworld, yet they had come to an unknown system and defended themselves and, by extension, Capri.
9. High Chancellor Revek sent a transmission to Elena.
You saved your species, and ours. You have proven strength beyond anything we imagined. You are welcome here. Thank you. We only acted to survive. We mean no harm to those who do not threaten us. Outside, the Ark slowly returned to orbit around Capri. 9. Humans and Veilori began coordinating repairs and supplies. Children watched as humans planted the first Earth trees in alien soil, their small green shoots bending gently in the red wind. Revek walked among the Veilori soldiers who had observed the battle. "We have seen the human spirit," he said. "They are not the weakest species. They are unstoppable when they refuse to die." Elena stood on the Ark's observation deck, looking at Capri, 9 below. Her people were battered, but alive. Humanity had survived extinction, fought a deadly enemy, and proven that intelligence, courage, and willpower were stronger than sheer size or armor. For the first time in decades, hope returned, not just for humans, but for the Veilori, and any who had doubted fragile species could rise to unimaginable challenges. The Horizon Ark was no longer just a refugee ship. It was a symbol, a warning, a promise. A species that lost its homeworld had not lost its spirit, and nothing in the galaxy would ever forget it.